In the heart of a land untouched by time, where the rivers whispered ancient secrets, and the forests breathed like living things, a child was born under a forbidden moon. Her name was Amara. The night she entered the world, the wind did not howl. It bowed. Her mother knew immediately. This child was not meant for ordinary life. Because when Amara cried, the pain in the room vanished. A dying candle burned brighter. A fever broke without medicine. And the bleeding stopped. Not by touch, but by presence. Fear followed quickly behind wonder. In the kingdom of Abanji, power was not a gift. It was a weapon. And the king collected weapons. So her mother made a choice that would shape destiny. Amara would not exist. To the village, the child was stillborn. To the world, she was nothing. But in the shadows of the forest, hidden beneath woven walls and whispered prayers, Amara lived. She grew in silence. She laughed in secrecy. She healed in the dark. But power like hers does not stay hidden forever. Because somewhere beyond the trees, a man who feared death more than anything had begun to feel it creeping closer. And kings do not fear quietly. Amara grew. But her gift did not simply heal. It demanded. Every wound she closed took something from her. At first, it was small. A nosebleed. A faint headache. A moment of weakness. But as her power grew stronger, so did the cost. Her mother warned her. Do not use it unless you must. But kindness is not something you can silence. One day, a boy from the village wandered too far into the forest. A snake struck. Venom spread like fire through his veins. His cries reached the place where Amara lived. And for the first time, she made a choice. Not as a child, but as something greater. She touched him. The venom stopped. His breathing returned. His life restored. But Amara fell to her knees, her body trembling, as the poison moved into her. And in that moment, someone saw. Not a villager. Not a child. But a spy sent by a king who no longer trusted time. Because word had reached the palace of something unnatural in the forest. Something powerful. Something useful. And now, Amara was no longer a secret. She was a target. In the palace of Abanji, the king did not sleep. Because death had begun to whisper his name. His body weakened. His strength faded. And no healer could save him. So when the spy returned, with news of a girl who could reverse death itself, the king smiled. Not with joy, but with possession. Bring her to me, he said. Not find her. Not protect her. Bring her. Meanwhile, in the forest, Amara's mother prepared for something she could no longer avoid. Your life will never be yours, she told her daughter. Not if they find you. Amara did not cry. She had felt it coming. The world was changing. And so was she. Because something new had begun to awaken inside her. Not just healing, but resistance. The next time she used her gift, the pain did not consume her completely. It answered her. As if her power was learning to fight back. But would it be enough? Against a king who controlled an entire kingdom. The soldiers were already marching. The forest was no longer safe. And for the first time, Amara would have to run. The forest had always protected her, but now it was warning her. The birds fell silent. The wind shifted direction. Even the trees seemed to listen. Amara felt it before she saw it. Something was coming. Not an animal. Not a storm. Men. Men with purpose. Men who did not belong to the forest. Her hands trembled, not from weakness this time, but from knowing. The world beyond the trees had finally found her. And somewhere far away, a king smiled. She did not wait. Instinct was louder than fear. Run, her mother said. And Amara ran. Through roots that twisted like traps, through shadows that whispered her name, through a forest that once felt like home. But the soldiers were faster than she thought. Because they were not chasing a child. They were hunting a miracle. Fear does something strange to power. It breaks it, or it awakens it. Amara stumbled. The ground rose to meet her. And in that moment, she stopped running. Not because she was safe. But because something inside her refused to run anymore. The air shifted. The forest responded. And for the first time, Amara did not just heal. She commanded. Power always demands something in return. The stronger it grows, the heavier it becomes. Amara felt it now. Not just in her hands, but in her bones. Her breath slowed. Her vision blurred. And yet, she stood. Because if she fell now, she would never rise again. In the palace, patience had ended. The king rose. Slowly, painfully, but with purpose. She is not to be harmed, he said. Not out of mercy. But ownership. Because what he wanted was not her death. It was her power. She fought. Not with weapons, but with light. But even light can be overwhelmed. The soldiers closed in. Closer. Closer. Until there was no forest left to protect her. And in the end, it was not strength that failed her. It was time. The palace doors opened. And the forest was left behind. Amara stepped forward. Not as a child. Not as a secret. But as something far more dangerous. The king watched her not with fear, but with hunger. And for the first time, Amara realized she was not brought here to be saved. She was brought here to be used. The throne room fell silent. Not out of respect, but anticipation. The king leaned forward. Not to greet her, but to study her. Like one studies a weapon. You will heal me, he said. Not a request. A command. But Amara did not respond. Because something inside her had already begun to resist. Power does not obey fear. And neither did she. Amara lifted her head. Weak but unbroken. I will not. The words were quiet. But they shook the room. Because for the first time someone had said no to a king. The king did not shout. He smiled. And that was worse. Bring the boy. A child was dragged forward. Broken. Bleeding. Prove your gift. Amara's heart broke. Because her power was never meant for this. She touched him. And the light returned. Stronger. Brighter. Different. The boy healed. But this time the pain did not stay inside her. It spread. Across the room. Into the walls. Into the king. The king felt it. Not healing. Not power. But something else. Something ancient. Something alive. And for the first time he was afraid. Amara stood. Not as a prisoner. Not as a child. But as something the world had forgotten. The room trembled. The air thickened. And the forest called her name. She could end him. Right there. Right then. The man who hunted her. Who caged her. Who tried to own her. But Amara was never meant to destroy. She was meant to restore. She healed him. Not as a servant. Not as a weapon. But as herself. And in that moment the king lost everything. His ear. His control. His power. She walked away. Not chased. Not captured. But free. The forest welcomed her back. The village would one day know her name. Not as a secret. Not as a weapon. But